Welcome back to the Muskegon Catholic Coaches Show here on Country 93.1. My name is Matt Tjapkes, joined by Steve Czerwon, and we are live at Pints and Courts Pub and Grill on Norton Street in Muskegon. Coach, we're starting to take a look ahead now. Your team is back to even, 2-2 on the season, and a tri-unity team. It's a co-op team, and it's kind of a new team. They only started varsity football, 11-man football last year.
They call themselves TNT. They actually used to be the co-op with Tri-Unity Christian and North Point, and there might have been one other school involved in that. And then North Point actually went on their own, I want to say about 3 years ago, and they formed their own team, and they're now in the, I believe they play in the OK Silver. So I think Tri-Unity was kind of left there with a number of kids that wanted to play football but didn't have a place to. So I know they formed they basically played 8-man football for about 3 years, and they were very successful in that. And then I think it was just last year they made the jump back to 11-man, and they've added they do a co-op, which is when you add other schools into your own school, and you just kind of draw players, and then those schools get treated as one entity by the MSSAA. And they co-op with Potter's House and a Lutheran school in Grand Rapids. So it's 3 schools, and they have a real close to 300 people that they draw from. So it's it'd be nice if we are fortunate enough to win. It is a win over a little bigger school, which is good for playoff points. And, I know they got their first win actually playing 11-man football last week over Colon. So they've got to be, feeling good about themselves. And, Colon was a team we played in the playoffs in 2009. We went down there, and they gave us a real nice game in the first half at least. So, they beat a reasonably quality opponent last week. So, another school, and you hate going into a game not knowing a lot about a school. But we know a little bit, but, we're just trying to go off the information that we have for this week.
Now, you talk, just for the listeners at home and for people in here that don't know, talk a little bit about what happens when you're playing 8-man football. What's not there that's there in 11-man?
I've never witnessed an 8-man football game, but from my understanding, I think they drop 2 linemen out and drop 1 back out. Okay. And then you play where instead of having to have 7 men on the line of scrimmage, you have 5 men on the line of scrimmage, and instead of having your number of backs you have of a quarterback plus 3, you have a quarterback plus 2. So, and then you still have 2 eligible people, and I know they shorten the field a little bit. They shorten it in width and they shorten it in length. And you just kind of play football. I mean, it's still tackle football with pads. It's just it's something that I think there's a better movement around the country for smaller schools to try to accommodate those kids that don't quite feel they can field an 11-man team, but maybe just a smaller school and they want to play down to a little bit of a smaller competition. So they set up this 8-man league, and they actually play the finals for 8-man football up at the Superior Dome in Northern Michigan. Every year, because again, a lot of teams in the UP that are smaller schools have turned to 8-man football.
Okay, yeah, I was just going to ask you. I think the UP is kind of the hotbed for the 8-man football. Right. How many teams are there south of the bridge? Do you have any idea?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. I believe that the championship game, I know this, is contingent on if it is a UP team, they play the game at Superior Dome. If it's not one of the 2 teams from the UP, I think they play it on the other side of the bridge down here. But as far as the number of teams, no. Okay. No, I don't really have that information.
Now, one of the challenges when you're taking on a school like this is there's no history there. There's no history of what they do. There's no history of what kind of plays they run or anything like that. And you maybe get 1 game of film to work with. How do you treat this week, and how do you prepare your team with so little information on an opponent?
Well, I think the one thing you're always concerned about as a coach is, you're concerned about your team and your execution and what you do. And I don't know, if you're playing in a real big game against, a real team is of great quality or another team, at the end of the day, you're always concerned about yourself. You're always concerned about your execution. You're always concerned about, the health of your guys, and you're always concerned about just executing what you do. With that being said, scouting is such an important part of football, and, we do have, we're able to get a hold of a couple games on Tri-Unity, and, able to scout out some of the things they do offensively, some of the things they do defensively. And, you just take that information as you would. Like, when we're playing a school like, I just throw a school out there that we seem to play every year, someone like Mona Shores. We're going back, if that coach had coached at a previous high school, we're going back to, some of the trick plays that they ran at a previous high school, which we might have on file or we'll talk to other coaches. I mean, we try to get as thorough as possible. I mean, we're looking at Fruitport, who we play, coming up in week 8, and we're looking at, they've switched a little bit of what they do, but we're really looking at even the things that they used to do, because you don't know what you're going to get on game day. So with Tri-Unity, you're just trying to go off of the information you have. You're maybe trying to look at, where has their coach coached at previously? What kind of things have they done there? And then, quite frankly, one of my jobs during the week, is running the scout team offense. And Coach Rebecca kind of runs the defense. Him and Coach Fedrosa and Coach Convertini, they all kind of put together the defensive plan and execute it. And I really have my hands out of that. And my job is to run the people that are on that demonstration squad to go out and to execute the plays that Tri-Unity runs. And one of the things you do sometimes is you kind of make things up. Well, I see what coach is doing to this. What would I do as a coach to counter it? So you're trying to put our defense in a little more difficult situations within the parameters of what their offense is. So, it gets a little bit exhausting during the week, but you're trying to have it so that our kids see every possible situation that they could see come game day.
Now, for football fans of the Maize and Blue that are here, we've seen a team that is way too overconfident go in against 2 lesser opponents the last couple of weeks and barely squeak things out. How do you make sure that your team doesn't get to a point like that when you're facing a team that's only won once in the last 2 years?
Yeah, I see Zach Houston here. I know he has a few pieces of Michigan gear in his closet, and we've actually mentioned I did anyways, mention the Akron game. Previous to the Heights game, and you're just making the comparison. I mean, the kids go watch the film, they see the level of opponent you're playing week in and week out, and although Michigan didn't lose those games, you bring them up. I think in a lot of people's eyes, they end up looking pretty foolish for the performance they put in, and you're just telling the kids, reminding the kids over and over that upsets happen in football, and you've got to do everything to prepare yourself and not take everyone lightly. And somebody, I forget who it was on Monday, we made the comment of, you're just trying to talk to the kids about the importance of preparing us. And, we don't know how long the starters might play this week, but we've got to, we're going to practice hard during the week as if it wasn't. And one of our kids made the comment that, we need to prepare this week as if it's Menden and not Tri-Unity. And, to take nothing away from Tri-Unity, but, it's just kind of the example that, you need to prepare every week regardless of who the opponent is. And I thought that was an excellent comment made by one of our kids.
And then 4th road game in a row. Are you ready to be done with this streak of road games? We've been to Grand Rapids a couple times now, and we get to go out there one more time this week.
Yeah, I'm absolutely ready to be done with it. My wife will tell you, people I notoriously hate to drive. I mean, I really don't. I rarely go north of Catholic, and I rarely go south of Taco Bell. I mean, that's kind of the area that I kind of hang out in if I can help it. And I just going on these road trips, I like being at home and I like controlling the environment that you're in. And, our pregame is more of a little flow to it because we're used to doing certain things. I mean, what we're used to doing now, your guess is as good as mine because we're on the road every week. And, there's variables that can arise on the road. So, yeah, I mentioned to our AD, it's to our benefit not to schedule 4 on the road anymore coming up. And, getting in the Lake State Conference, they kind of, oscillate between a home game and a road game. So that won't be a problem immediately. But, it would be good to get back home. And, the next game we play at home is week 6, and it's homecoming. So, there's going to be a lot of you like to have a normal home game, but there's going to be a lot of hoopla that surrounds homecoming, both in the school and with fans. And maybe week 7, I guess, is not Mona Shore, is not homecoming. Week 7 is our first normal home game. So, it'd be good to get back home for a few.
And just talk a little bit. Obviously, we got Tri-Unity on the schedule this week. How far out do you have scouts out at each of your remaining opponents every week, or how do you handle scouting for something like that?
Yeah, that's you really you're thinking when even in the summer you walk in our coaches room, we have a map up of every school we play and what their schedule is, and then from that we kind of work that in a bulletin board fashion. Where are we getting film from? And sometimes coaches that will exchange with you. There was one week I felt like Dave Dombrowski where I was I thought I could get a film from a coach that another coach wanted in exchange for something he had. So I was like, well, let me call you back within 5 minutes. And then I made 2 phone calls, was able to get a film, and then was able to make that exchange. So, I mean, sometimes people will do anything just to get their hands on a copy of film. And, the more information you have about a team you're going to play, obviously the better you are. But something like this weekend, Traverse City St. Francis happened to play a Saturday game. And it is only week 4 we just got done with, but you don't play them till 9. But, as a coach, your eyes light up when you got a Saturday game of somebody. So I made the trek up to Traverse City and was able to watch them, able to run some film on them. And, it's just kind of, there really is no substitute for seeing a team live in person and seeing exactly how big they are, how they move, watching them in pregame. Seeing how their coaches interact with certain players. I mean, those are all things you're looking for, before the game and during the game. And, I had a chance to watch Traverse City then. I think Traverse City also plays a Saturday game week 8. So, it's kind of unusual in high school football that you're going to have a chance to see a team live twice, but that's exactly the situation we're going to be in on, with Traverse City. So, are we scouting? Yeah, we think about scouting a lot. And, I just think I don't think I'm any different than any other coach around the area that you're trying to get your hands on as many films as possible. Coach over at Muskegon this week, offensive coordinator, made a comment to me about he referenced the 238 offensive play Shores has run this year. So I mean, you start thinking about. I mean, have they seen all 4 games? Yeah, they've seen all 4 games, and you're formulating things off of those things.
All right, and then. Every week we try to bring a student athlete on, and this week you're going to send me one of your linemen and talk a little bit about Mike Coy, who's going to be coming up, and what he brings to your team.
Yeah, Michael Coy is somebody who was a two-way starter for us. He played both sides of the ball last year as a sophomore. He's now a junior, and he's a defensive tackle and offensive tackle. And I'm not saying we've changed our defense philosophy, but we're doing a couple more things where Michael actually plays a true nose guard position where he lines up over the center. And I brought you the stats right now, and you're going through and looking at the stats, and those guys that are up front, they do so many things that don't show up in the stats, but those stats are not possible without those people up front. And Michael's done just an excellent job as a junior, and he somebody who I really think. When I got the job, I'm not saying we try to do things different in the weight room, but I just kind of see the importance of being in the weight room in the off season and doing everything you can before you start playing football to get yourself stronger. And Michael's somebody who really bought in and really didn't miss any lifts. And I'm also the track coach, and he came out and threw discus and shot put because I said this, so you can lift along with this as long as working on your quickness. And Michael did that as well. And he's just somebody that we're, any success that we've had so far this year are going to have in the future. Michael Coy is a big part of it. And you mentioned the word student athlete. He's somebody that's just an extremely, just a high caliber student. I don't know if he's first in his class, but he's very, very high in his class, and he's an extremely bright kid. And I actually have him 2 hours of the day right now. And our classes are 90 minutes, so he sees me for 3 hours a day in the building, and then he sees me on the football field. And I don't think my wife sees me that much in a whole week, and Michael gets that in a day. So he's just done a fabulous job with us, and I'm just glad he can be part of the show tonight. All
right, we'll have him after this 3-minute break. Again, thanks, Coach Steve Czerwon. We'll be back with more here on the Crusader Coaches Show on Country 93.1.